You've tuned into the artofmoneysaving.com YouTube channel. My name is Joshua, and this is the place where creatives come to learn a little bit more about personal finance. Stay tuned. I'm fed up of being single is a thing that I often said. Tinder, Bumble, online dating, I couldn't get it out of my head. But work I was able to do in this remarkable time. Is this period in your life your financial time to shine and invest your money and put it to good use? I hope you'll do this soon. Subscribe to the Art of Money Saving, your personal finance resources to consume. So I don't know whether you've ever heard about this movement, the financial independence or FIRE movement, financial independence retire early. It's really hard to say that fast. Movement. Well, I was single for a very long time in my 20s and I had not discovered this movement. So one of the things that I noticed is when I was reading literature, not finance literature, but in general, YouTube videos or books, a lot of the stuff would always be geared towards those who are in relationships or married. And I felt quite excluded as a single person, often left out. So I know that there's a big single community in the FIRE community. Single community in the FIRE community? Yeah, I can say that. But I wanted to create a resource in a video where I'm speaking about my own personal circumstances, looking back, because now I'm not single anymore, now I'm married, and just to tell you what my own experiences were in the hope that that helps you. So let's go all the way back to the beginning of my 20s, where I was in school. And one of the things that I'm very grateful for now, during a pandemic year in my 30s, is the amount of hard work that I put in during my 20s and how much of a diligent saver I was, because it has really saved my bacon during the pandemic. All of those hard years of toil, putting that money aside, has really helped me. So that should be an encouragement to you. If you're in your 20s, don't take this time for granted. Make hay while the sun shines, as the saying goes. So do what you can with the best of your time. I saved and I saved and I saved. One of the difficult things is if you're coming out school or college, is it's going to be that first time when you're getting a salary. And that transition is a difficult one to make. Even though I was very frugal in my university days, I also struggled with that transition, and I was becoming quite flash with my cash, buying a few expensive items from time to time, but generally speaking, I was still living below my means and saving money. Of course, one of the biggest regrets of my 20s is that for the first 6 or 7 years of my 20s, I didn't invest, which was a big mistake, at least I think, on my part. If I was speaking to a 20-something-year-old now, I would say, be really clear on what your financial plan is and stick it into action. Get ready, go for it right away. One of the greatest things about being single is that you don't have to answer to someone, or you have that sense of freedom during that time. So take that freedom and go to places and see things that you wouldn't do otherwise. So I'm a musician, I'm an opera singer. I was able to say, yes, I'll go to Germany, yes, I'll go to Austria or Finland, wherever it is, and do that job. And I had no ties. And inevitably, when life moves on and you get a little bit older, those things do start to change a little bit. So take advantage of it while you're single and see the world, travel, develop your skills, and most importantly, think about your financial plan, because those seeds that you plant in your younger days, man, they can grow and grow and grow as you leave them for all of those years. So not too many regrets financially from my 20s. Very thankful that I made cash reserves. I wish that I invested, but it's easy to look back in hindsight and say, I wish I didn't know anything about investing. So that's one of the reasons I'm creating this video. If you're single and you're thinking about financial independence, get on it now. So what else is on the notebook here? Creating wealth for your future self. That's one of the biggest things that you can do whilst you're single, is because you have the sense of independence, you are able to think ahead. And although you might not have a family or a partner right now, in the future you may, and you might have to provide for that family. So keep that in mind, that whilst you're single and whilst you have that freedom, you still want to be a good steward of your money. Another thing for you to think about is your generosity. So likewise, I was saying about how you could be a good steward of your money, and you're thinking about what may happen in the future with family or babies or partners, whatever that is. Don't avoid being generous. And whilst I was able to build those cash reserves in my 20s, one of my regrets was that I didn't have much of an emphasis in my financial plan for generosity. That's something that's definitely been learnt and practiced in my 30s. Very much not perfect yet, but is charitable giving, is being generous with your time as well. But not only being generous with your time, giving your money away. So whether you're, I would argue, budgeting for your charitable giving or generosity is a big part of your financial plan. And Ebele, who was on my podcast, she said about this transition from school to working. She nipped it in the bud straight away. So the generosity was there, it was budgeted for, and she thought, well, if I'm generous whilst I'm a student, then I can be generous whilst I'm working as well. And if you're clued up about the financial independence movement, it's all about building as much wealth as we can and investing that in ETF funds normally, whilst this doesn't constitute as financial advice, of course. That's the ethos. So if you can build early in your 20s, then it's going to really help you later on. But I want to draw you to a fantastic resource, the Frugal Expat. I think it's www.thefrugalexpat.com, Steve. And I just want you to go and check out his website and his net worth, because he does some... he's very transparent with his numbers, first of all. But he also tithes. He gives 10% away of his income each month or each year, whatever way you want to look at it. And I want you to think about this as well, also in your journey of singleness, is look at people like Steve. He's on this journey of financial independence, but he's also still being generous with his money. So going to another phrase, don't let the grass grow under your feet. So I've just got here, don't sit on your bum. In your 20s is a time when, if you're single, your days are your own and you're free. So I look back at my 20s and I think I wasn't as diligent with my time as I could have been. And the pandemic has forced or encouraged me to seek other opportunities other than being a creative that's just an opera singer. I think that sums it up quite well. I want to encourage you, use this time of singleness wisely. If you're not in your, not to say that singleness is only for 20-year-olds, you can be in your 30s and 40s or 50s, whenever it is, but be a wise steward of your money. And do let me know how you're finding the journey of singleness too. Are there good resources out there? I've been out of the game for a while now, so I'm not clued up on all of the latest resources. But I do remember that sense of struggle and not feeling like I fitted in all the time. And that is hard, man. That's a really hard place to be, particularly when you're seeing other people around you settle down and as life changes for those people. That's when I struggled with singleness the most. So don't let that be a deterrent. Let that focus you in and become really clued up on what your goals are. And I hope that this video was an encouragement. It wasn't a particularly planned one, but let me know what you think. I try to get a video out each week when I can. I'm much more regulated on the artofmoneysaving.com podcast. There is an episode every Wednesday coming out, so do check that out. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Ciao.